I saw a graphic, another meme, and it was from this, seems like a kid, seems like he's about 14, 15 years old, Evangelical Dark Web. Okay, real nasty guy, real nasty, childish, super duper immature. Needs a good spanking is what he needs. That's what my mom used to say. Yeah, and all of us are going, yeah, yeah, you wait till your father gets home. grab by the ear. Yeah, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, and so you've all seen this thing where you got this little kid, and the road branches two different directions. And so the question is, which way reformed man? So it may have been Stephen Wolfe himself who made it. Maybe somebody else made it for him. I don't know. But there was one a few months ago that had me and Stephen Wolfe. And I was on one side, the other. Which way reformed man? There's a germ of truth to these things because we are going very different directions. We are not on the same road. We're not on the same path. We're not proving the same things. The end result is very, very different. And I'll just remind everyone once again, give it a year. At the rate it's going, it may not take a year. Okay? It's happening faster than I expected it to. I've said between now and April, you're going to see all this development. Because with that conference coming up, Stephen Wolfe speaking, the people there are going to really be struggling to maintain any kind of independence from Wolfian Christian nationalism if they're going to be speaking at the same thing with him. And so you're going to see, and we are seeing, positions that used to be held by these men being abandoned to take the Stephen Wolfe perspective. Things in regards to theonomy and presuppositionalism, supremacy of Scripture, sufficiency of Scripture, all these types of things. And you just see that happening. I mean, if you cannot be a Thomas Aquinas fan and a consistent, notice the word, consistent defender of scriptural sufficiency, because he didn't believe in that. Now, he did not, and I wrote 2 articles on this. No one's ever bothered to even try to respond to them. Aquinas did not have the modern perspective of Rome on this. And by the way, we need to be talking, I need to make sure that I talk about Francis's tweet that he put out day before yesterday. What? Well, it's sort of weird. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. Aquinas wasn't as bad as modern Rome is because the Reformation had not yet taken place. Let me explain that. When you have outbreaking of light and truth, as you had in the Reformation, you either submit to that truth or you become more dogged in your denial of the truth and hence probably move farther into the realm of untruth and error. And so Aquinas isn't dealing with the reformers. He doesn't have brilliant, well-framed argumentation like you have from Calvin, for example. And so he's not going to be as radical, just as he doesn't promote the bodily assumption of Mary as a dogma and rejects the, at least currently defined, form of the Immaculate Conception. Doesn't mean he's not compromised on Marian dogmas, because he is, most definitely, obviously. But he's not nearly as radical as modern Roman Catholicism, or shall I say Tridentine, Council of Trent Roman Catholicism. So once you move into that realm, you're going to be in that realm of Thomas Aquinas is my homeboy. You're going to be challenged, I think, to be consistent in your hermeneutics and in your apologetics. That's why the whole R.C. Sproul thing has always been so strange, and why he wrote the book on classical apologetics with Gersner and Lindsay. That was, I just thought, really bad because it was in how it approached those type of topics. This is how it happens. So anyways, there's the graphic for the Christ is King, How to Defeat Trash World Conference, and then the graphic for ReformCon. And they've been put up there, which way, Reform Man? And I commented on it, I said, you know, if this was to be accurate, what you'd have is the path would be going straight, and then straight to ReformCon, and then it would branch off to one side to the other. Because you look at, not all, because, I mean, Calvin Robinson's on there, Stephen Wolf's on there, but large majority of everybody else that is on that graphic would have been with us only a matter of a few years ago. I mean, Joe Boot and I have both spoken at conferences with Joel Webbon within the past 2 years. And so this has happened fairly quickly. And if you look at where we all are, we haven't changed our perspectives. We don't sit around talking about the post-war consensus. We obviously are not driven by a commitment thereto or anything even slightly relevant to that. And anybody who says otherwise is just simply not functioning on an honest intellectual basis, just being dishonest or demonstrating an ignorance on a level that's pretty hard to fathom. So we haven't changed. And I would say, looking at everyone speaking at the ReformCon coming up in April, if you asked us the key questions concerning Christian worldview, apologetics, basis upon which God judges nations, national sins that must be repented of, all that stuff, we would have given the same answer back then that we'll give at ReformCon. We haven't changed. But it is beyond question that many of the people in the other graphic have and will not give the answer they would have given only 2 years ago or at most 4 or 5 years ago. So the graphic should have been straight road, keeps going, other branches off over here. If that was the intention of the dark evangelical web or evangelical dark web or whatever the guy's name is, the kid that does all this stuff, if it was their intention to provide something that was insightful or something like that. But it wasn't. It was meant to do other things. And but again, I just point this out. It is the reality. It is the way that things things are.